All right. Good morning. Good afternoon in some areas of where you are going to be. This is Scott Aaron. Happy Wednesday. And tagged one of my good buddies, someone that I'm in a mastermind with, Chase Craft. I'm going to bring him on right now. And I just wanted to thank him for taking some time out of his day. I don't know if this is his first Facebook Live, but I know he's mobile right now, so I know he's going to be potentially popping on let me just add him in. Why his story is so powerful. Yo, dude.
What's up, man?
How you doing?
Good. How are you?
I'm doing great. Thanks for taking time, man. I really do appreciate this.
Yeah, I'm trying to get my phone propped up here.
I know.
I'm in my truck.
And so, again, I love doing these interviews, for the purpose of introducing other people, to the people that I'm connected to now. And I'm just grateful that I have you and Cayla in the mastermind that we're in to do amazing things with. And when you and I spoke last week, you shared a really powerful story with me, beyond the success that you and Cayla have being multiple seven-figure earners in network marketing and everything that you guys are doing. It actually was the first 3 years of your network marketing journey where it wasn't all sunshine and rainbows with you and Cayla building this business. And, you speak on this, Cayla speaks on this, and I don't think you can speak too much, you can't speak enough about it. Spousal support, and I think, Chris and Lori actually did a podcast on this a few weeks ago. Spousal support in network marketing is so important. So before we get into the questions, just take a couple minutes, introduce yourself to the audience, who you are, where you're from, and what you and Cayla are up to now, and how you got to where you are right now.
Yeah, awesome. Well, thanks for having me on. This is my first guest Facebook Live. I've done a Facebook Live by myself before, obviously, but yeah.
Awesome.
Well,
welcome.
Yeah, thanks. So I'm excited to speak to your audience. So right now, Cayla and I live in Newport Beach. We are from Bakersfield, California. Both of us were born and raised in Bakersfield. It's it's not a super small town. It's 500,000, 600,000 people in Central California. And we just moved to Newport Beach last year. So big move. We're super grateful. I mean, living at the beach in California is there's not a whole lot better else out there. So, yeah. And we have 3 kids. We have an 8-year-old boy, Cooper, 6-year-old girl, Charlie, and a 4-year-old boy, Channing. So.
Yeah. And how young are you, just to let people know?
I'm 29. I'll be 30 in July. Yep. The awesome. Big 3-0.
Just want to paint that picture, everyone. Yeah. 3 kids from 8 to 4 at 29 years old.
For sure. Okay. Yeah. So Cayla got married. I was 19. I just turned 19 2 weeks before we got married.
Wow.
Yeah. And Cayla was 21. She's 2 years older than me. So yeah. So we got started really young. So I had Cooper, my oldest. I was 20. I think I was 20, getting ready to turn 21. Wow. So yeah. So we got started young, which is super fun because, we're going to be, it's fun to, obviously it comes with challenges. Being a 19-year-old and getting married is like insane. Now that we look back at it, we're like, what were we doing? I mean, we wouldn't trade it for anything, but, you don't know who you are at 19 years old. You know what I mean? So we've had to Cayla and I have had to grow together in just becoming an adult human being, that's, it's hard enough on your own, let alone doing it with another person and then young kids and and building businesses. And yeah, we've had an interesting road. So yeah. And right now, Cayla and I, like I said, we're living in Newport Beach. We have a couple businesses that we're that we're running, starting a couple more. Yeah, we're just in the thick of just entrepreneurship. It's super fun. Yeah.
So let's go back. You have an interesting professional career before network marketing, and I didn't know this about you until we spoke last week. So, you guys have been in network marketing for 7 years now. Is that correct?
This
8
will
years?
be 8. Yeah, June.
8 years.
This will be 8.
So what did you? I mean, obviously Cayla, like you and I discussed, was driving the train for a little bit, or the first 3-4 years.
Yep.
But what were you doing previously, personally, before jumping into full-time entrepreneurship?
Yeah. So I graduated high school. I was 17 when I graduated, and my parents, my grandpa actually, started a company back in '76, I believe. And they have a machine shop, so they do like manual machining on metal parts, and then they also have computerized machining called CNC machining, and then they also have an industrial painting division. And what that is like sandblasting on the inside of like water storage tanks, oil tanks, and we put an epoxy coating, spray an epoxy coating on the inside to protect corrosion, exterior steel painting, stuff like that. So when I graduated, I was 17, and my dad was like, "You need to go get a job with somebody else. You're not coming straight to work for me." And so I started working in a retail soccer store, and I worked there for a couple months, making minimum wage. And as soon as I turned 18, I told my dad, I was like, I can't do this anymore. I need to come work for you. And so he let me come. I couldn't work for him until I was 18 because the oil fields won't allow you underage to work in the oil fields. So yeah, so I started working as a sandblaster right when I turned 18, and and then worked my way up to a painter. And then after that, I was running crews and in the field. And then like a couple weeks after I got married, actually, when I was 19, we had lost our project manager. He moved on to another company. And so my dad presented it to me. He was like, "Hey, this is your shot. If you want to take it, I'm willing to give you a shot, but like, don't screw up or else you're gone," basically. So I was like, okay. He was like, we don't really have anybody else. I want to hire internally. We don't have anybody else internally that I feel like is presentable enough to be in front of customers and really, handle this job. And, I want to give you the reins to give it a shot. And so I did. And, yeah, I really excelled and succeeded at that job. And I stayed as a project manager for a few years. And then I moved up into general manager over our coding division. So I was doing sales. I was running the project manager. I was running crews. I was doing estimating, all that kind of stuff. So yeah, so I was in that for until 2000. So I started in 2007. I quit in 2014.
So obviously it took some time for you to come around, and this is the big thing that I want you to talk about, Chase.
Yeah.
And I want you to speak directly to, a lot of my audience is female dominant because, you and I both know the network marketing profession is 85% women.
Yep.
So I want you to speak to the women because, the one thing that you and I have learned is that network marketing will either make or break a relationship. And obviously, Cayla, you've never not supported her, but you just were not on board with the whole network marketing thing from the beginning. So talk a little bit about that beginning journey when Cayla was like, "I'm pushing my chips all in, I'm doing network marketing," and you were still obviously doing what you were doing in the oil fields, for about 5 years before you even, turned, kind of like an eye to this. So what did that look like when Cayla said, "I'm doing this," and you're like, "Fine, you do this, I'm doing this"? And what was the big turning point where you're like, "You know what? I need to support her to my best ability, and she needs me, and we're going to do this together." So what did that whole look like?
Yeah. Is a big long road for sure. So like being totally transparent and honest, like I wasn't even like not supportive. I was like super negative. And so she came home, and she, you know, came home with these products, and she was talking about cleansing and all this stuff. And I was just like, I have a powerlifting background. So, you know, I've taken every supplement in the book. I had my routine, I had my supplements, you know, I thought I had it made. I had it going on. I knew all the stuff that we needed to take, all that kind of stuff. So she came home with this cleanse. I was just dogging it so bad. I called it ice of shits. Yeah, yeah. Yeah. So,
oh my God.
so I was
That's
pretty
amazing.
hard on her. Just being a product user, you know, like she hadn't even started like mentioning anything about the business. I was just being hard on her as just a product user. And then I saw her get results, and I was like, okay, I'll give the products a try. And this was probably 2 months after she started, and I did a 30-day system myself, and felt amazing. Lost like 20 pounds. Like I was like, okay, these products are legit. Like I'm into it.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I haven't gone a day since that day. I have not gone a day without the products in my body. Well, then this whole building a business thing came around. And so Cayla, just kind of give you a background. Cayla was an ER nurse. That's what her profession was before she started in network marketing. And she grew like wildfire with her network marketing business. She made 6 figures in 6 months. Like just,
Wow.
yeah, like insane. And so, but you know what it takes to build a network marketing business. Like if anybody tells you that it's easy or that like it's quick, you know, get rich quick, like no, it's freaking grind, hard work, nose to the ground, you know, for a long time. And that was just, I was used to her going, she was working nights as an ER nurse. I was used to her going and leaving at night and coming home in the morning. And I didn't have to like, there was, you know, once she was home, you know what I mean? Like, so once she started this business, not to mention I had all kinds of preconceived opinions about a network marketing or MLM or what pyramid scheme or whatever, you know, all the negative, you know, tags that come along with network marketing. I had that going on up here. And also we had, you know, not even a year old. Oh, actually he was a year old son, and she was working her ER business and also working this network marketing business. And I was like, where's my wife? Like, I don't.
Right.
And so I wanted to do everything I possibly could to stop it. I was,
wow.
Yeah, I mean, I literally, like, I still apologize to her because I'm like I was literally doing like, so launch parties, all that kind of stuff. I refused to watch the kids. She would have to bring her mom over to get her mom to watch the kids while she did a launch party, because I was actively trying to get her to stop. And so unsupportive is like, doesn't really give it justice of how unsupportive I really was. But I'm so incredibly thankful that she didn't fall for my antics. You know, like we are in this place that we are right now, living in Newport Beach, have, you know, multiple businesses, and, you know, just being in the entrepreneurial world, getting to make my own schedule. You know, I'm going in at 9 o'clock in the morning to go work out. You know what I mean? Like, this is the life. And the only reason I have this life is because she chose not to give in, and she chose not to quit. And so
let me just stop you just for one quick second,
yeah.
because I just want to honor you. You know, as a man, the one thing that I've learned is that, you know, one of the hardest things for a man to do is to be open and transparent about something they did wrong.
Mm-hmm.
You know, and the fact is that you're still, you know, I'm sure Cayla has, you know, more than forgiven you by now, because again, you were in your place at that time the way that you were in, where, you know, Cayla was a couple steps ahead of you, and she was like, you know what, he'll come around. No matter what he says, no matter what he tries to do, he can continue to fire those arrows for me, because Chase, you know, sometimes it comes from our family, sometimes it comes from our friends, sometimes it comes from social media. There will always be arrows fired at you. So, so what was the turning point for you where you're like, you know what? Obviously, the antics aren't going to work. So I need to maybe jump on this ship with her and see where this can go. So what did that situation look like?
Yeah. So she became super successful, obviously. And I saw these checks coming in, and at some point I just couldn't turn a blind eye to it. At some point, like a year, I think it was almost 2 years down the road at this point. And I think we went to a celebration, and she was a 4-star, and she was super motivated to make it to top achievers for that next year. And so she was like, I'm going to max out my business before top achievers. And I had no idea what that meant. I was literally there for the party, like I was like, give me the drinks. We're in Vegas. Like, I'm here for the party. I have no interest in any of this stuff.
Right.
And so I watched her literally grind from a 4-star to an 8-star in like 2 months. And obviously, like, I don't know if your audience is mostly Isogenics people, but an 8-star,
that's a huge
jump. And
huge
not
jump.
only that, but the income. Like, all of a sudden we went, to making $13,500 a week. Like, I was going, I can't turn the blind. Like, what is this? This is blowing my mind. Like, I don't even know what is this, And so at that point I was like, okay, like and mind you, this is 2 years in, and she's making legit, like, crazy amount of money. Like, this is how long it took me to even open my mind up to network marketing. You know what I'm saying? Like, so your audience out there, if you have unsupportive husbands, like, just keep running, because it may take a month, it may take 3 years, it may take you making $500, it may you making $5 million. You know what I mean? Like, but the dream is still there. Like, they're going to turn at some point. You have to prove it to them, because they're waiting for you. They're waiting for you to give up. And once you give up, you give in. And so that's what I had to really see, that, like, dude, this girl is not giving up. She's making crazy amount of money. I have to, like, I have no choice but to, like, see what this whole thing is about. And so I just dove in, like, researching network marketing, all the negative associations I had with it. I was almost trying to disprove, or I was almost trying to prove network marketing wrong. So I was doing all the research to prove it wrong, and realizing that I was wrong. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And so at that point, I just told her, I was like, okay, let's do this thing. And so, but at that point, like, even when I chose to do it, like, it took me years to really, like, get over a lot of that stuff, because she was growing personally at a rapid pace, and she was outgrowing me. You know what I mean? And I wasn't really willing to do the personal development. Like, I was like, okay, let's do this. But what people don't realize is, like, dude, there is a crap load of personal development that has to be done, that before you can even, like, open yourself up to being an entrepreneur. You know what I mean? And I'm still doing a ton of personal development, and Cayla's still doing a ton, but I wasn't ready yet. Even though I was ready verbally, I wasn't ready mentally and physically and spiritually yet to really do it. And so, over the course of, I would say up until maybe like 2 years ago, a year and a half ago, I was still teeter-tottering. I was still in and then out, and then in and out. I would be all in, and then I would have 3 or 4 people say negative things, and I'd be like, oh, just run back to what was comfortable. You know what I mean? Yeah. And so, so I don't know where I was going with any of that, but yeah.
Yeah. I mean, it's, it's either you can't give in, because that's when you give up. And I think you said that beautifully, because, this goes both ways. This goes for the women watching this, who maybe have that discouraging spouse, and Melissa says, this is the best interview. She so needed this today. And my good friend, Melissa just said that my other good friend Kate is on here having her husband watch this. And so I want you to speak to the wives, but to the husbands. What advice would you give that wife or that spouse that is not fully supportive, and what does that spouse need to hear that you learned personally from finally giving in to Cayla's relentless drive to succeed with this, even though she already was? What advice would you give to both of those people?
I mean, to the wives, or maybe even be the husband that's doing this and has an unsupportive wife. I don't know, whatever, whomever is the one that has this dream, like, don't give up, because your spouse is going to be so thankful at the end of the day when you've created a life that is a dream for your family. They're going to be thankful for you and your relentless drive to not give up and give in to their unsupportive nature,
Yeah.
And because I mean, I thank Cayla every day. I thank her every day, because now I'm like, we're together entrepreneurs, like, and just letting you know, like, we work together, we still, like, it's still a battle, you know what I mean? Like, it's still like we're operating well, but there's still days that we're like, it's tough, working with your spouse is not an easy thing, you know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
But it's super, super rewarding. And for the husbands, being fully transparent here, it was probably 2 years ago that our marriage was struggling big time.
Mm-hmm.
And it was solely because I was unwilling to do the work on myself, because what was happening, like I told you, we got married at 19. So, we were either going to grow apart or grow together. And for the last 8 years, she's been skyrocket growth of personal development, and I've been doing this. You know what I mean? And at some point, it like really was at a breaking point in our marriage of either I grow with her and I get up to her level, or this thing is just gonna come off the rails,
Yeah.
And so my marriage and my family was so important to me that I was gonna make the decision right there that this was not gonna be the reason that that we don't make it. You know what I'm saying? And so I had to make that decision of like, okay, either I jump in and get, go into the deep end, or I'm off the tracks. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
And so that was a huge breaking point for me of like, I had to really, marriage and family is number one for me. That's number one.
I was just going to say, when your family, your marriage, and your kids are that important to you, you will do whatever it takes to make it work.
Yep.
And you may not agree at that time,
Yep.
but it's so easy to look at something by the cover of the book without even opening it to start reading the pages. And then when you finally open that book and you start to read the pages and you start to see, okay, I can get into this. And
Yeah.
then you start doing the work instead of judging someone else's work. That's when things start to really change. And I think you are such a fine, incredible example of someone that really, they had their back against the wall. They did not want things to go the way that they wanted to go. You wanted to support her. You were just unwilling to change. And when you were finally internally giving in, like saying, you know what, I got to do this. I got to find out what she's reading in this book that is really allowing her to skyrocket, because I want to support her. And the businesses that you guys have and the track and the path that you guys are on is a clear depiction of not only her relentlessness to keep moving forward, but you setting aside your ego of being a man and saying, you know what, I have to be the best husband, I have to be the best father and partner possible, and I need to catch up to her. And you've done that.
Yep. Yeah. Yeah, I mean, that was the thing. I mean, it just came to the point that like that was the most important thing to me. And if I had to do this personal development thing to like get that on track, then that I was going to do it. And all of a sudden I found out like, wow, this is opening up a whole new world for me. You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
and I never really, like I told you, you know, we had a conversation. I've always thought of myself, I'm kind of like a bat behind the scenes guy. Like Cayla she's the one out in front. She's the one doing the speaking. She's the one doing the video. I'm doing everything back in. I'm managing our employees. Uh,
You're the back of the house.
yeah, I'm setting up all our launches. I'm doing all that stuff. I never thought of myself as like an entrepreneur. You know what I mean? Like I always thought of myself just like I'm just a good employee. You know what I mean? And but once I started doing that personal development, I realized like, dude, entrepreneurship is like one day you'll feel like you are Gary V. The next day you'll feel like, what the heck am I doing? I'm not made out for this. You know what I mean?
Yep.
And
Yep.
until I did the personal development on myself to realize that and realize how to work through those times, I would just take those times of what am I doing as a sign of I'm not meant to do this. You know what I'm saying? And so,
Yeah.
and then going back to the husbands, like, you know, it's never, we never question as men, as husbands, we never question whether or not our wives are going to be supportive of what we want to do in our life. You know, it's just given that the wife is just supposed to just go along with whatever husband's career is and all that kind of stuff, because we're the providers and we make the money in the household. So you aren't supposed to question me and what I'm, what professional career I'm pursuing or anything like that. And it's like, how selfish of us as men that we require that of our wives, but in turn we don't give that same respect to them. You know what I'm saying? And
I
so
completely agree.
if I respect my wife as my wife, my queen, my, the mother of my children, the person that I'm going to spend the rest of my life with, I owe it to her for standing by my side all these years and doing whatever I'm doing and coming along with me for whatever I'm in at that moment, to return the same favor to her. You know what I'm saying? Even if you have no intention of being an entrepreneur, if you're happy doing what you're doing in your career, in your profession, dude, more power to you. But you owe her the same respect that you expect her to give you, of just be there for her, support her when let her, work, let her watch the kids while she's doing a call. You know what I mean? Like, and there's lots of compromise, giving back and forth, like open lines of communication is huge. And then just women love, like men, all you have to do is words of affirmation. Like, babe, I think that you're doing an amazing job. I'm so proud of you. How can I just literally just be there as a support? You don't have to be involved in the business. You don't have to give advice. All you have to be is just somebody there supporting them along the way. It's so easy. And I totally missed the boat. And I think back of like, how much more could we have grown had I been that supportive husband in the beginning? You know what I'm saying?
But everything did work out in the end, and again, everything happens the way that it's supposed to, and obviously this was the path that you guys were on. And listen, I want to be respectful of your time. I know you have a call coming up at the top of the hour.
Yeah.
And Chase, I know, like, people are commenting left and right, and I just this interview, I hope people share this with your teams, and tag people in this that need to see it, because I know the way that you're speaking, it's going to help so many network marketers, men, women, husbands, wives, partners, spouses, whoever, because anyone can make that turn. And just like you said, your husband, your wife, your spouse, whoever, they may be happy with where they are, but there has to be a mutual respect given between those two people. to make any successful relationship work. And Chase, I just wanted to thank you so much for popping on this morning. I know you got a busy day lined up of everything that needs to be done, and I just want to say how grateful and honored I am to obviously be on this journey with you in our mastermind, and for you taking the time out to talk to everyone today.
Absolutely. Thanks for having me, man. I appreciate it.
Absolutely, brother. So listen, you go enjoy the day, guys. If you want, leave your takeaways and your big aha moments in the comment section, or even better, I've tagged Chase in this. Send him a message on Facebook. Let him know how this interview impacted you in your life. And Chase, thank you so much again, brother, and look forward to future collaborations together.
Thanks, man. I appreciate it.
I'll talk to you later, brother. Thank you.
All right, guys. We'll see you.
So I really have nothing else to add. That was one of the greatest interviews I had the pleasure of doing. So I'm going to leave it at that. I love you guys so much. I know Chase feels the same way. And just remember, open communication and respect is everything. And Chase is an absolute fine example of that. Obviously, I got to give my props to Cayla, as he would as well, for never giving up. But also for her never giving up on him, because I think intuitively she knew he was going to turn around. So guys, enjoy the rest of your afternoons, your days, your nights, and I'll talk to you next time. Bye, everybody.